Welcome to the mind of Mr. Chadwick Jones.
Yeah, your setup's sick, man.
Yeah, this is quite. Yeah, we got quite a good setup going on over here. I've been basically I've been manifesting this setup for about 5 years. I've been working towards this setup, but I don't know. I thought earlier it'd be great to show you around, but I can't take my laptop around in the space at the moment. But if you was to FaceTime me and screen record the FaceTime, I'm quite happy to show you around and show you what the setup is. But yeah, it's a pretty cushy setup.
So where are you
It's
living? Where are you living now?
This is Hackney Wick. I'm in East London at the moment, and I'm in. And I don't know whether you know anything about Hackney Wick, but Hackney Wick is the hub central for artists in London. So it's I mean, it's full of creatives, mate. You can get away with wearing whatever you want. In a way, it's a lawless society. Obviously, the laws still apply, but I mean, we very much run the joint out here. And it used to be 65 warehouses that artists used to live in, which ended up becoming the rave capital of London. And then over time, they've sold these warehouses, and now there's only about 15 warehouses left, and it's full of artists, filmmakers, photographers, circus artists, actors, activists. I mean, you name it. It's full of it around here. So I couldn't really feel more at home than I do right now. I think it's like the perfect place for me right now.
So you live in a warehouse. There's like like an industrial estate type thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I live in a warehouse. It's called Fish Island Circus. So it's been renovated over the last 20 years by clowns. That's not an insult. That is actually the truth. I mean, I mean, professional clowns have basically set up this space. So no wall is the same measurement. Nothing in this building is what you'd call level. But you know, we've renovated it over the last couple of months in the lockdown because obviously we had to close the space. So it's been renovated. We've got a load of new circus equipment. I've built a film studio here and a photography studio. So it's been non-stop, to be honest, but it's a really amazing setup that we've got here. And we're really lucky to be in a really up and coming and prime location in London.
So do you run classes from the warehouse, or is that just your house?
No, this is a live workspace. So we run classes, we run circus classes, we run film classes, we run photography courses, we run anything, everything we can really. Sometimes people come and just train in the space on the daily, really, from 6:30 in the morning. There's people training in the space up until about 6 o'clock in the evening. And depending on what we've got booked for that evening, we either choose to relax, have dinner together, play darts and chill out, or I'll have a video shoot booked up, and we'll completely transform the space for whatever video we've got booked in the space at the time. But I will have a walkthrough video coming out soon, which will be going on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, so people can kind of see what the setup is and also see what we do here at Fish Island Circus and with the CJ Collective, which is my film company.
Oh, sick. So when that comes out, I'll post it. I'll push it, and so if people have watched or listened to this, then they can then, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about it now. Let's just give me a little taster. And
yeah.
When it comes out, I'll push it, and then whoever's watched or listened and wanted to take a look around, they can go and take a look around. And this sound in space, like like a child's place. Is it is that what it feels like sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I feel like, you know, I definitely feel like I mean, if there was an art of procrastinating, it's this place. You know, but I think the things that you can procrastinate with here are much better than most places. You know, we have all the toys, and now, you know, obviously, you know me, Sam, so I have a plethora of hobbies, and they just keep growing the more and more people I see in this space, because we have so many awesome people and such amazing talent come to this space. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to start picking up that. So I've learned a load of things. I'm learning even, you know, more than I thought I would be able to learn, but also I get to train and work and live in one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, really.
Yeah, well, you're one of these people who said, I'm gonna make what I enjoy my job, And that's incredible. And that's why I love following your journey, and probably why we connect. And even back as kids, we didn't really hang out, but we connected somehow. It was,
Yeah,
you know, we just got on when we saw each other, and we never actually introduced to each other. I think that's
absolutely.
probably that creative side, that wanting to be different.
Yeah,
And damn, you were always different.
you
And
can say that, man. Yeah,
and wanting to be different, that probably brought us together, as we were.
yeah.
Because you wouldn't really say friends. If we've got a friends list, probably wouldn't write you on our friends list, but we'll always talk, we'll always chat, we'll always share views
That's
with
it.
each
We always
other.
stayed in touch, and I think ultimately it comes down to mindset. I think you've got a very very driven mindset, and I think for so many people that's incredibly inspiring to watch um, to watch you create the world that you want to live in, the what your surroundings are, you know, and that comes from the mind state that you have, and whether it's your cheerleading, which obviously you take into California, you've been all over the place, all over the world doing something that you love, and something that actually back in the day was considered as you know, emasculine.
Yeah,
um,
and you're
and
never gonna make money at it.
yeah, totally. And I always remember training, like, gymnastics wise. Gymnastics when I was a kid, you know, it wasn't cool.
No.
We'd be called all sorts of things. All of a sudden, because we do gymnastics, it's related to homosexuality, and we'd get all kinds of like crazy kinds of bullying, which was ridiculous for a start, because we're a lad of 40. You know, we were lads of 40 in a team, and we were very well trained. So I think anybody who scrutinized us fast came around as soon as parkour started hitting the scene.
Yeah.
Because then it started becoming cool. And then the gymnasts, who obviously were aware of their body, were aware of their potential, were already in a mindset where they were elevating their physical potential, had now
Become the popular
are
kids.
able to exercise that in what the world sees as cool,
Yeah.
you know? So it was really interesting, like the transformation through that, and also watching you exile in cheerleading. I was like, well, I'm just really proud, and also really glad that you carried on that journey, and also you showed everybody, you stick to something, it'll take you around the world.
Well, thank you, sir. But
Very
it's same
welcome.
again though. It comes.
I'll leave the invoice at the end of the
Okay.
podcast. All right.
But yeah, I'm gonna wait for that when it comes through. Like, and 2 hours of your time talking, and
That's it. Brilliant.
an
That's
hour of
5,000.
inspirational talk, mindset advice. Yeah. If I was gonna say, you got me blown.
I'm sorry, mate.
No, it's fine. Um, like you say that's inspirational for you or for other people, but it's just the other way around with you. Like, I might not want to go and make a movie, but seeing you doing that and knowing, well, I went to school with him and he's now living in a warehouse doing what people say you shouldn't be doing, because you should have a mortgage by now and you should have a car and wife and a kids, etc. To see
Yeah.
you doing that, it's like, it, even though I'm older, it secures in my mind, okay, maybe you are doing the right thing. You are, even though I'm
Uh-huh.
starting to think a bit of a bigger picture now and getting a house, and that's obviously become very difficult due to COVID and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's still nice to see, like, what you're doing is inspiring to me to know that it's okay, because there's not
Yeah,
just
it's more than okay, because I think at the end of the day, it's you versus you. And I say this when I walk into an audition room, right? I always say this to anybody that I meet. So many people turn up to like job interviews or auditions, or even in regular life, we see each other as competing. We're always trying to one up each other. But for me, I'm going in an audition room waiting to learn off somebody else. I'm waiting to receive some golden nuggets that somebody has practiced their craft, and they are ready and available to exercise their craft in front of me, off the whim, in an audition room when the stakes are really high and there's a job up for grabs. For me, if I see someone who does a fantastic uh, audition, I then look at them and I think, do you know what? You deserve that job, and if you get that job, that's, you know, that's down to you, and I don't feel bad for that. You were just the right person for the job. So with that, it doesn't mean to say that I can't help, that we couldn't cross paths again, and the next time that I meet, it might be that we work together. It might be that we don't work together, but the industry is so small. We have to support each other. And also I don't want what you want and you don't want what I want. We're after two different things. So we need to get into a repeated, I'm stammering over my words here. Yeah, we need to keep on practicing that in our society that it's okay.
Yeah, it's like that's like an active and reactive mindset. Like you say, you could be in a room, someone smashes their interview, makes you look stupid, or your audition, and you could go home with, "Well, I'm not good enough. He was better than me,"
Uh-huh.
and that anger, or it could be, "Well, I hate that person," because you're not going to
Mm.
admit they're better than you, or you
Mhm.
could. Or you could be active to that and be like, "Oh, actually, yeah, they were so much more confident than me. They played the
Yeah.
part better than me. I need to now change and get better for the next time."
And yeah, absolutely. And also, like, what can I learn? I'm here to learn. Like an audition room for me is a workshop. I'm workshopping, one, my skills, but two, I'm also looking at other people's skills. I'm also looking at the things that they have in their bag of tools that they use, to be able to take some of their tools and go, and appreciate the craft of and the practice that they've done. And I think it's perfectly okay. It's absolutely perfectly okay, because we're always trying to better ourselves anyway. But at the end of the day, we don't all want what
Yeah, what everyone
us
else
as
wants. Yeah,
individuals want.
yeah, yeah.
We're all artists, and individually. And even yourself, Sam, I'd call yourself an artist, whether it's podcasts, or whether it's cheerleading, or whether it's, you're always exercising creativity. So within that, there's artistry, whether
Yeah.
it's through vocabulary, whether it's through your vernacular, or whether it's through your physical means. We're all
Damn, you're
artists
dropping
trying to
some big
express
words
ourselves.
on here today. I don't think I know
I
what half of
know,
them
I'm just
mean.
dropping all the bombs. I tell you what, I read the
Definitely didn't come
dictionary
from
before I did this
Polesworth
podcast,
International
and I'm
College.
like,
You definitely didn't come from Polesworth.
definitely didn't come from Polesworth. Every time I go back to Polesworth, everyone's like, "What on earth, man? You sound so posh." But here in the Wick, they're all like, "Where are you from, mate? You,
Yeah, but
you
it's
ain't, you
funny
ain't,
because
you ain't the usual scallywags we have
you
around here."
still look the same, and obviously on your social media is still you. It's still
Yeah, yeah,
crazy mad. I'd call this is gonna be weird. I was gonna introduce you as, well, I haven't even introduced you, but oh well, Luke Chadwick Jones. And I'm like, I've never called you Luke in my life.
yeah. That's
It
true.
was
That's
always the
true.
middle name.
Yeah,
It was always the middle name, and I was thinking of it. I'm like, I'm gonna call him Luke. That sounds too strange. Like, I'm just gonna call him Chad. What
yeah.
do you go
You can
by
call me
now?
Chad. I mean,
Oh yeah,
like
what do
a
you
lot
go
of the
by
lads
now?
at home, they still call me Chad. And I
And
think
what
as
are you
well,
now?
like,
You're in London.
yeah.
Are you Lucas?
Lucas. No, no, it's strange because obviously now being an actor, and having gone through the process of training how to be an actor, we kind of have to strip away ourselves and remove the ego and remove all of the attachments that society puts on ourselves, and break the conforms of our education, and re-educate ourselves and relearn our ways in which we are, uh, the reasons why we're in the world and how we enter the world, and as people, what we can offer to the world, right? So I look back on the times when we were growing up, when we were kids, right? And everyone used to call me little Chaddy or Chaddy. And I, in a way, that was like an alter ego. It was like an alter ego that I
Yeah.
then put on the facade of who this person that everybody put onto me. So yeah, it was a really
That's
crazy time.
that's a great thing to dive into, actually, because I was thinking about this. My new job that I'm doing at the moment, just to get money, I have a lot of time to think. I have 8 hours
Yeah,
to think, and that's not good for people like us. Because I'm like, I want to be at
yeah,
home building
yeah.
something now or doing something. But I was thinking about this the other day that I started to, during lockdown as well, it got to me. Everything that got to me, because obviously my whole job, my business got ripped from underneath me. One minute I was earning loads of money doing stuff that everyone thought I couldn't do. And then there was no way of turning that round. And it was like, oh, I'm going to lose my house, blah, blah, blah. I need to now go get
Hmm.
a job. It really got to me. And then I actually got to a point where I was like, I don't want to be Sam Thompson anymore, because I felt
Mm,
like I still had to turn up on social media. I felt like I still had to turn up to keep my job going. And like you say, that facade of, I don't know, if ever I'm sad, people ask me what's up. If I'm in a room and I'm not jumping around or I'm loud,
yeah.
what's wrong with you? Are you all right? And it's like,
Mm,
well, yeah, I know I'm normally trying to be center of attention. I know I'm always trying to be loud. I'm always trying to make everyone happy, but I am allowed to be quiet. I'm allowed to not be that person. Oh, Costa Cup, other brands are available. Um,
Yeah, this isn't a sponsored ad. It's just a cup we had in the cupboard. Uh,
um,
yeah,
but you put that pressure on yourself. And that's quite weird for you to bring that up. Because like I say, it was a few days ago, I was thinking about that. And I do enjoy being Sam Thompson, which is why within a week I was like, I want to be Sam Thompson again.
yeah,
I was back on social media. I was
uh-huh,
back asking people to come and talk to me. I was back to random doing videos. I don't care if I get one view on a video. I really don't care. I just enjoy doing a video.
yeah,
But that pressure of what people think you are is
yeah, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
hard. Like the Arno, like you just said, that little Chaddy. There's just those words of, oh no, you got friends. You'll know him, Big Neil. Big
Mhm.
Neil, because he's
Yeah,
Big Neil, he has to be Big Neil. He has to be loud. He has to be
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
aggressive.
course.
He has to be the tallest, the strongest, the protector in the room. And it's like, well,
Totally.
sometimes he's allowed to be a soft bear and relaxed and
Yeah, yeah,
not looking
absolutely. You're
after
touching on
everyone.
so many interesting topics. I think one, yeah, they're the social masks that we wear. So for about 8 months, I went studying behavioral realism, and behavioral realism is the basically like breaking it down in a nutshell. It's Sherlock Holmes to be able to in which they walk and why they walk that way and their habitual tendencies as people. And
Oh, Chad, can you run that
we
phrase
wear
again?
these many social masks.
Can you run that
Yeah,
phrase
yeah,
again? You
absolutely. Yeah,
froze.
yeah, yeah, no problem. Uh, I think you've touched on like really interesting topics there. So for about 8 months, I studied behavioral realism, and behavioral realism in a nutshell it is like Sherlock Holmes, for example. He'd be a master behavioral realist. So somebody who can look at somebody, see their habitual tendencies physically, whether they've got a limp in their right leg, where they put their weight, whether it's forwards, whether it's backwards, the way they hold their head, where their gaze is. Like they all give telltale signs about how the walk of life in which they've led. So there's many times I can sit in a coffee shop and I can watch someone and I could tell you a lot about a person before I've even met them. I could tell you what old injuries they had, what sports they grew up with, what emotional turmoil that they're carrying around with them. Like because our physical body gives 80% of what we before the conversation, you know. So social masks is a really interesting part of behavioral realism, and we always have this tendency to put on a facade and to wear a mask that is presenting our best self or the version of ourselves that we think we are to the world. And so when you say like, you know, like Big Neil or Little Chaddy, yeah, we you automatically are putting the social mask on what has been put onto you. So
Yeah.
we have a responsibility, and we can take responsibility to actually say like, it's okay guys, today I'm going to be a little bit more human. I do have thoughts, I am human, I do carry emotions, and I do feel incredibly deeply. I'm not always this emitting burst of light. I can also be an
Sad,
introverted yeah.
calm,
And it's
chill.
also okay, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I said this once before on an Instagram live recently. It's okay to sit in the rain. And like you said before, you kind of touched on it briefly. Is our relationship with social media. We kind of feel like, and I think it's something that really isn't practiced, and it's something that it's gonna become really trendy. That's for sure. Is the psychology and the mental health of social media, and how we rein ourselves off and keep these addictions at bay, and how we use them as tools, but don't become too
Yeah.
indoctrinated by the pressures of what the systems in place are asking us to do, to spend more time on the phone, to keep you know, we have to just use them as tools. And I think, you know, a good way of using the platform like you are already doing is, you know, with podcasts, with raising awareness to what the implications of this addiction with social media can do, and how it has an impact on our mental health. And all it is self-discipline, you know, and self-discipline is self-love, and um, that in turn means we can live a more fruitful life that is less bombarded by media and other information that we don't necessarily need to be consuming on the daily basis. It's hard enough living in the world.
Do you
Um,
feel something I keep seeing coming up a lot is this whole everyone's trying their hardest to be noticed.
Uh-huh.
but I'm trying my hardest to not be noticed, to disappear type thing. Do you think that's, as fashions come around, so
Yeah.
it's fashionable at the moment to get your ass out on Instagram. It's fashionable to be on Instagram all the time. It's fashionable to be on. So do you think it's gonna? Do you reckon it's gonna become fashionable? Which I've started to see it like van life,
Yeah.
hashtag get out in the adventure. So fitness has now gone to walking in the hills. Do you think it's going to go backwards? Not, it's like hippie stage, but do you think people will start going with, well, it's cool to not be on social media for a week. It's cool to go and disappear on holiday and not touch your phone for 2 weeks. Do you think that'll become a fashion? Like, not a fashion.
I think that's a really interesting thing. Yeah, I think I would believe anything in 2020. Um, I would believe anything. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I think a lot of the off grid, the off grid mentality, the jumping off ship. There's a lot of my friends, in fact, who had massive followings, who are huge parkour athletes, who travel the world, who do all sorts of things, and they've jumped ship on a lot of social media platforms because it's become political warfare.
Yeah.
It used to be that social media was about sharing entertainment content, or it was about boosting your ego. So there were people that were self-aware already and they weren't using it as that, and they were using it as a tool, or they were using it for an ego boost to say, hey, look how well I'm doing. And I think the thing, yeah, it could definitely be that a lot of people jump ship. I think that would take a hell of a lot of awakening from people to do that, because the system would crash straight away, and that would be really interesting. But on the flip side, what I think would be more beneficial is to unfollow really popular mainstream commercial influencers, and I would go like a lot of people that I follow are really small independent artists exercising authenticity,
Yeah.
and anything that's authentic will always live on, and it will always be successful. And I think people need to not worry about what content, whether their content is getting seen or heard, and about it being actually truly original and authentic to
And
you.
who it's heard by or seen by.
Yeah. And also not to worry who it's heard and seen by right now, because in the long term, it's like, looking at the long shot, looking at the long goal. I don't think it's always about creating viral content and creating things. Obviously, for some people it is, and that's their jobs and that's what they want to do, and that's fine. I think as myself in particular, as an artist, I want to exercise authenticity. So if it means that I have less of a following, and the following that I do have are more interested in the art that I create and the authenticity, then I definitely prefer that.
I mean, I had
I
a,
do.
I had a, I had a media friend who said to me, like, Sam, you're not putting us effort in because like my editing isn't great and it never has been.
Right.
But why are you doing so much, spending more money, etc., to get 40 views, 50 views when I don't know, people on Instagram could get thousands within minutes or etc.
Right.
I'm like, because I enjoy doing it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I would love to make money out of it.
Yeah.
And there are things that since lockdown have happened, I've had emails, messages, and to do with the business I'm already in. If
Yeah.
I hadn't have done stuff like this, it wouldn't have led to that. So 2021, 2022 is looking good for that. But I said to him, I enjoy doing it. It's not to get money. It's not, this is a hobby. I'm spending money on a hobby. Like I'm like yourself. I'm building a studio at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew that, but they do now. I'm building a studio. But it's costing me money. But as soon as I think I've got to make money out of it, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely, because we feel the pressure to be to be earning money. I think in a nutshell, you're kind of saying trust the process and hold the vision. I tell you a quick story. When I first left drama school, I left and I got a job. I won't name the company. It wasn't very great. It was very difficult, and it wasn't what I expected the industry to be. However, um, from that job, I then managed to get my first acting paycheck. I was still well in my overdraft, £1,500. I got paid £500, and I spent £380 on a DSLR camera, and then I spent £100 on a new lens. So I had £20 to get to work and back. and that's all I had. That was all the money I had. I don't know what it was in me. I had just had a burning desire in me to pick up a camera and start learning the art of photography and video. I didn't even have a laptop that could process the camera. I didn't have nothing, and 5 years on, I'm looking to now I have 6 or 7 cameras, a film studio. My first feature film is going to come out soon. I've just directed my first feature. I've shot over 50, 60 show reels, short films. Like there is, I've got 2 or 3 photos that are in Singapore in exhibitions around the world that have won awards. Like I didn't expect that my first acting paycheck, that first curiosity would have then led and sewn itself into my acting career and then given me a film career at the end of it. I didn't know that was going to be the case. But what I did was I stayed curious, and I was never doing it for money. When I first learned how to use a camera, I was approaching buskers in the street and I was saying to them, "Hey, I think you're really talented. Can I shoot you a video now?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." And so I would shoot them a video. I would then send them the video. By the end of the year, I'd already shot over 100 videos, and there was artists all over the world that were writing to me saying, "Hey, can we shoot a video?" Then I shot my third music video, which then won BBC Introducing Video of the Week. And I then started going like, maybe I can actually start charging people for this. I've been doing this for a while now. I feel like I understand. I'm still editing on iMovie, but a lot of the stuff that I'm making creatively through the camera is really visually stimulating through the story. So, 5 years on, here I am in Hackney Wick, in a film studio, in a circus studio, where I get to exercise all of the things that I love in life, and wake up and sit into the dream and the vision of the life that I have created.
I think that's the problem, though. You can so easily buy stuff these days. So
Yeah.
we can earn money, we can buy a camera, we can earn money, we can get the best editing software, we can get the best editing computer in the world. But if you're boring, and you see that quite a lot on like Instagram or YouTube, they've got drones, they've got gimbals coming out their eyeballs, they've got the best camera, they've got thousands of pounds worth of equipment, and then they're like this on
Absolutely.
camera, and they're just dry, and they've got, I'm just gonna go and
Okay,
eat my
guys, we're just
breakfast.
going to talk 101 now. We got 3 really interesting topics today. We're going to start with pneumovolcanic microscopic scoliosis.
Which I mean, they're just
It's
dry.
really difficult wearing these headphones with a microphone on, because every time that I put this on, I automatically go into, "Hello, it's Radio DK voice. We've got a Logan's Kiss 100 million to make sure it's Logan's Kiss 100." You just end up playing with the audio. But yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. without you're right. You can have all of the gear, no idea, no creativity. Totally. And
then they force it. They force, like, I need money. I've now quit my job. Great. I love that you've done that, but stop forcing it. You need to enjoy it first. You need to be okay
Totally.
at it, and then you can make money out of it.
Totally.
There's a YouTuber I watch. I don't know, Max Tuning. I don't know if you've heard of him. So I only found him for, you'll like his videos, but I found him through fitness, and he was always funny because he used that is it what's it called when you take the mick out yourself? You know the big word. You got big words for days.
Oh,
like when you say like, "Oh yeah, it's because I'm
now.
massive," even if you're not massive, or it's because I can lift loads of weight, like, do you know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
he's funny because he takes the mick out of himself. But he started through fitness. He was never really like massive, but just constantly trained. And now he's a CEO of a clothing company. And also he always used to eat sweets, and people hated it because he was fitness and eat sweets. He's now released his own sour candy, like sweets, and he's got sold like millions on every launch he does.
Yeah.
And I just love it because he's him. He hasn't gone out there to force it, like, let's do a training video, let's do this. He's still like, yeah, I'm skinny, guys. I'll just keep training. And he's got the following. That's his job now. YouTube's his job. And then he slowly he's got his drones, he got this, but he still say to himself, he was like, I know you hate my transitions, you just want to hear about my training, but I'm going to do a cool transition. Here it goes. And he'd still stick to what he enjoyed. And he's grown that follow. My missus will say, why are you watching him? He's weird. I'm like, it's someone I could be friends with, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's why I'm
absolutely.
watching it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
you do find yourself getting too immersed and watching too many episodes, but it's literally like a program, literally like watching TV, because he puts so much
Yeah.
himself into it, and you can tell he's enjoying his videos.
And I think you're totally right as well. He's being truly authentic to himself and his creations of how he obviously decides to exercise his creativity through his videos, and that's also amazing to see. Uh, us as humans, again, going slightly going back to behavioral realism again, is that we can see when you know we're more transparent than we think. We can see when someone's putting on a facade of something. We can see when someone's trying to display something that they're possibly not being their true authentic self, because there's something about it that rubs us up the wrong way.
Yeah.
So when people are truly authentic and they are just exercising their own greatness, then it's totally watchable, and you're totally right. And it should be that you relate to them and go, I feel like I'm friends with you. I feel like we've been friends for a long time, and that's brilliant. I'm glad he's doing really well.
Yeah, it's just, I think, because then you see other people doing it, and it is literally like, okay, well, I need to make money out of this, so I'm gonna have to do a bench press video like everybody else, and I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to do this. I'm gonna have to show how well I'm eating. Like, and he's literally just like, okay, guys, so we're gonna cook a healthy meal today, and he'll just make a bowl of cereal. And he's like, that's the first meal made in the house. And that's just him. Like, that's
Yeah.
how he eats pizza. He does eat healthy, but he doesn't exercise all the time. Oh, look how perfect I am. Like, this whole, like, say, the perfect Instagram person, and he's just like, this is me. This is who I am. And I think that's why he's grown to build such a big following from it, because he's just been him as such.
Yeah, totally.
So let's dip onto the movies.
Yes.
So what made you want to be, have you gone actor to producer, or have you gone the other way around?
I think we wear many hats in life. I find this question very difficult. There's quite a few people ask me, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great question.
Have fun. I live in a circus factory. And I
Yeah,
have
no,
fun.
yeah. I mean, I'm an actor. I'm a circus artist. I'm a performer. I'm a voiceover artist. I'm a director. I've produced. I'm a business owner. I'm many things. I am Luke, is what I prefer to say. But yeah,
Sounds like an action movie.
yeah, one mission, one Luke.
I am
no,
Luke.
it's yeah, I guess the transition happened. I was in Madison Square Gardens. I was performing in the circus with a show that I'd been on tour with. We went into Australia. We ended up in America. We were touring America for a while, and we ended up in New York City. So in New York City, I then met a very, very, very inspirational man called Enzo Simone. Enzo Simone produced a project called 10 Mountains, 10 Years. This movie went on to win 28 awards, and the director of that, Jennifer Yee, she went on to become Ridley Scott's right-hand writer. She now writes for Universal Studios, and she also is writing Netflix's new animation. So she works very much within the Alzheimer's, within the Alzheimer's activist. She's an Alzheimer's and Parkinson's activist, but she's also a writer, and she works for these high-end production companies, like some of the biggest around the world. So I'd met Enzo, and I said to Enzo that I heard about his project, and we went out for dinner after one of the shows. I'd got them all tickets, and so we went out for a meal, and I said that I think it's amazing what he's created, and he said, well, jump in on the next one. And I kind of said that he's seen a lot of my stuff from Facebook, like my journey with the camera, and he says, you've got a really interesting eye for cinematography. So mixing, acting, the method of
sorry, just gonna put a pin in that there. That's
yes.
that doing something you enjoy, which will align at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I didn't know that this was going to be the case. So this is like me striking.
You could have still met him. That conversation still could have gone ahead. But if you hadn't done the videos, he might have been like, okay, cool, nice to meet you, Luke. Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
But because he's seen what you'd already done, which you didn't even plan for that to do.
No, totally not.
I love that. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. We totally. It wasn't planned at all. So I arrive in New York City. I'd already said that I wanted to go and meet Enzo prior that, a couple of years before, when I was at acting school. And so he basically said he wanted to get me involved in the project. So I moved to Las Vegas. I was performing in the circus in Las Vegas for 7 months. I then get home from that journey, and I'm kind of like, in a way, feeling a little lost, a little depressed, and a little like I've got to go back to ground zero to rebuild myself, to find out what I'm going to be doing next. And I think it's very, very important. That's another thing we should touch on as well. Is I think the depression is a really interesting thing. I think people see it as a negative. I see it as a really, really strong positive.
100%.
But we'll come back to that. Is that then? Yeah, a couple of months after I got back from Vegas, Enzo had said to me, hey, we're thinking about shooting another movie. How do you feel about being trial production producer? And I said to him, that's a really elaborate title. What on earth does that mean? So I got no response for about 3 weeks. And then 3 weeks later, he'd said, yeah, so I've kind of got a team together, and I think I want you to be the director. What do you say? I just put a very short email saying I'm all in.
That's all I need to know, man.
That
That's
was
all I
it.
need to know, yeah.
And that was it. And then 5 years on, we've been to 4 corners of the globe with 16 of the biggest advocates around the world, advocating Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, making this movie for the better of good. And it, in turn, completely changed my entire life. And so that was my first time ever stepping into the director role, but also stepping in the ring with the greats, with people who have no money, that make $100 million every year for Parkinson's, and they take no profit, they take nothing, and they set that up off their own back for free. So
that's
really
inspirational, man. That's amazing. That's incredible. Something to be a part of.
It's unbelievable. And some of the stories of the lives in the film is just astonishing. Like, and you really don't need. We're given everything we need around us, but some people see opportunity and some people don't. So we really have to be, awake to the opportunities that are around us. So yeah, and then we filmed The Pilgrimage. We finished filming it in Sicily, and then I flew to America, and then it went into post-production from there. So it was very expensive. I didn't think I would be able to afford it at the time, but I did bit by bit, and I even got to a point I thought I'm going to have to sell the car here just to get to Italy. But I trusted the process.
Not the Mazda.
Yeah, the Mazda. Yeah, I was going to have to sell it, mate. And that's my wife. So, happy wife, happy life. And I almost had to sell the wife. So times were tough.
I'd like to sell mine.
You what, sorry?
I'd like to sell mine.
You like to sell it?
Yeah,
well, this is a good time for you to sell it, Sam. It's on the podcast.
My wife, I mean.
Oh, I hope she's not watching. I hope she's not. I'm not involved in that. Okay, I'm not involved in that. The sale of this is nothing to do with me.
I love you, babe.
Yeah, it's so it's really interesting the way that life has something set out for you, and by no means was it hard. And somebody asked me, a dear friend of mine asked me the other day. He's like, "What would you say to people? Because you're doing what you're doing, what would you say to people?" I said to him, "I wish that nobody was me, because then you don't have to deal with all of the things that come with living a life like this, because I don't think it's set out for everyone."
No.
And so I'm happy smiling in the face of adversity, but not everybody is. So we also have to know what we're capable of, and not giving too much of ourselves away before we actually end up depleting ourselves. So I think that's the best message I could say, is that actually, like, there's a lot of people that go like, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're so fortunate." I think I'm hardworking and I'm stupid in so many respects for taking on so much work that I don't really know what's going to come of all of it, but I know probably greatness. So
yeah, there's a phrase that someone says. Oh, Ross Edgley says something about being. Oh, what is it? Being brave to start or something. Oh, or so naive. I can't think. That's so annoying now. Is it good? Like, basically what you've just said. like you said, you're stupid and whatever word you used to say with that. But that's where the creativity and where jumping the mold comes from.
Yeah.
Just being so, like, you're brave enough to say I'm going to do it, but naive to think things might not go wrong, but you're in there
Yeah,
anyway.
to think it's going to be an easy journey. Like
But
they
you're
think
in
it's
there.
going to be like, it's funny actually. You're totally touching on all the right topics. You know, some people think show business is glamorous. I tell you now, after walking 25 miles every day across Sicily in the 10 hottest days they'd had in 10 years, with 25 kilos on my back, 7 kilos on my right hand, wearing the same clothes for 3 weeks straight, standing in a tropical thunderstorm, ruining my equipment, having paid for all of it, and now watching it all be destroyed. Um, there is something so beautiful about letting go of it all and realizing that you're in the right place at the right time. But also, there is nothing glamorous about the smell of yourself after walking for 3 weeks straight.
I think
So
people
there's a
see,
lot of people that see the glitz and the glamour and the
yeah,
red carpet. They don't see the hardship that goes on behind the cameras, behind the editing team, behind
and
the
they also don't see what small movies take to make. When you've got
yeah,
big box movies, you're fine. When you got, like,
absolutely.
I know someone who's just flew away to film a new big movie, and he's only a body double, but they'll pay him because they can't afford to pay the main actor to come and
Yeah,
shoot a few scenes because of how much it costs to get a main actor there. And he's in this, he's getting paid nowhere much as what top people get paid, but he's in a hotel, it's lush, free food,
yeah,
free alcohol, the pool, and all that, and they don't see what it takes to get there. So, like,
totally.
probably a lot of those producers and people there would have done what you've done to get to the big bit, and a lot of people normally see just the universal pictures and the
That's it. That's it.
when
Totally.
people have made it as such, they don't see the standing in the tropical, like you say, and not
Totally.
being able
When
to
they make
afford
it
it.
over, yeah, they make it overnight, and there's 5 years in the making. You know, they don't see the 5 years in the making when you're on your knees, begging for mercy, saying, "I haven't got any more than I can give you. Please, you know, please help me out." You know, whoever you're talking to. But you know, there is times that it does become like that. It does go like, you know, I'm on my knees here. I can't give any more than I'm giving, and someone's got to help me out here. And it always does. It always comes through, and we have the power to manifest all of the things, but it requires patience and persistence in the process of life.
You saying that it's not everyone is cut out for your type of life, or say,
Uh-huh.
I'm not as eccentric as you, as in the way you've built your life.
Darling, what do you mean? I'm not eccentric at all, darling.
It's probably the wrong word, but like
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
how
yeah,
brave
absolutely.
you've been. Like, I have had my cushion. Like, my partner is my cushion. She's the
Uh-huh.
person who says not to do things or to do things. Like, when I said I was going to America, she said go and do it. So I knew it was a good idea because
Yeah,
she was happy with me going away for 10 months, not seeing her for maybe 6 months at a time. Whereas
yeah,
if there's things, she'll say, I want a house. Okay, cool. It's time to knuckle down. And I don't believe in following the system and being stuck in the system, but she wants a
yeah,
house. I understand a house. I secure my kids for future. I'm going to do that. So not
yeah,
as crazy as you living in a bloody warehouse. If I was single and I wasn't with my partner anchoring me down, I probably would be in a warehouse somewhere,
yeah,
being a circus performer and doing what you're doing.
yeah,
Um, but I think that you saying the memories you've got from that is exactly what I'm like. Like,
yeah.
did you earn any money from that? No, I don't care. Like,
It's not about that. If it's about
did
that,
you? Like,
you've lost the game.
that's what I mean. I think, but like you said, people aren't cut out for it. It's because some people don't care about that memory. But I want to know when I die, when I'm on my deathbed, I have no. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd said yes to that. I wish I'd gone and done that. And that's, I say, probably what brings us together as well. Once again, it's that same mentality. And like, some people
Yeah,
aren't like. Some people are like, I want to have the memories of having so much money, so many houses, 12 cars.
yeah,
My kids are all happy. And I flew here on a private jet. Some people have that as memories, whereas
uh-huh,
you're a bit like me. Like, I want that memory of, I was stuck in a tropical storm. I lost all my kit, but then I still managed to overcome that and build a movie and
yeah,
create a movie. And
yeah,
like, I can tell people I've walked through a desert, or I've not changed my clothes for 3 weeks. That's a
yeah,
cool memory to me. Like,
yeah,
some people are like, I would rather say that I bought a new outfit every day for 3 weeks.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
rather
totally.
say I've not wore clothes. And it's good. Like I say, me and my partner, we bounce off each other very well because she was never like that, and now she is. And I was never caring about money, and now I do a little bit. And
Yeah.
I think that's great for both of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. People have seen me. I turned my car into a camper van during COVID because I love
Yeah. Yeah.
camping.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would never have got her in a car with a bed in it ever. And she was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. We've been four
Yeah. Yeah.
times now,
That's
and
great.
we've great weekends away. And she was never like that. So just going back to what you're saying about people aren't always made for it, and I think that's the two different types of people that you have.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely the way you are. Is I'd love to say I was stuck in a tropical storm and tell my kids about that and tell my family
Yeah.
about that and how incredible it was.
I think the thing is that I say to my close friends a lot, you know, don't wish for a jet plane. Wish for the lifestyle that requires you to need a jet plane. If I'm Dwayne Johnson, he's not going, I need a jet plane because I want to look like I'm rich and I've got a jet plane. No, the guy's shooting 13 movies. He has, you know, a year or 9 movies a year. That means he's got to be around the world uh, all the time.
So he needs
He
the plane.
needs it.
Yeah, I love
He
that.
needs it. It's an expense. So we can't get caught on materialism. Just touching back on also the people sit from the outside, especially from social media. We put the highlight reel up of our lives, and we see that, you know, like for example, I was touring with the circus, or I'm touring with whatever show that I'm doing at the time, and you see I'm in and out of planes and in and out of different cities and all over the world. And they go, oh, I'm so jealous that you're so lucky. And then you go, well, you know, are you willing to get up and ice your ankles 4 times before you walk in the morning? Are you willing to then go to the gym for 45 minutes and stretch and work the muscles that are feeling weak at the time? Then go and have a physio, then get your back destroyed by physio, your shoulder destroyed, labrum tears, 6 ligament replacements, and then go and do a show. And it's not the first time. So I say this to anybody who goes to watch any circus show or any Cirque du Soleil show. You know, it's not the first time that person's done that trick for that audience. That is probably the 15th to the 20th time that week that person has done that triple back somersault. So people think that, you know, we're robots. We're not robots. We're very well tuned, very well, really, really specifically crafted showmen that are trying to exercise physical greatness, and also we're pushing beyond what physical boundaries to what our potential, to try and exercise our potential even further than it already is. So it's, you know, people don't see what happens behind closed doors, the broken necks, the broken backs, the broken legs, the open fractures. They don't see that. We see that, and then 5 minutes later we're back on stage and we've got to put out a 5-star stellar performance.
A great word you said there as well, which I hate it. Lucky.
I
I
can't
was
stand it.
not lucky. Let's go back to what we said a few minutes ago. That dude seeing your show reels on Facebook, it wasn't, someone would say, well, that's lucky that he saw them because then he knew how good you were and that's why he wanted to work with you. Well, it wasn't lucky because you created those videos and you put them on Facebook and you uploaded them for him to, in the end, see them. That's not luck. It's not luck that he's seen them, because if you hadn't put them there, what we would say unlucky. Well, it's not unlucky, no. And I hate that. Like, you're lucky to be traveling the world. Well, no, I put myself there to travel the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I can't stand that word. Like, and
no, it's not. Look, it's hard work, mate. I think sometimes, like, you know, sometimes with certain things to get to a certain level, I think sometimes it is luck. You've bumped into someone on the street in passing and you've been very polite to them. It turns out that's Stanley Kubrick, and now he wants to put you in his next movie.
But that's not luck, because you were polite. You could have been an arsehole.
Well, you're right. You're right. You are absolutely right. Yeah, I don't believe in luck either. I only believe
created
in hard
that.
work.
You were on that street at that
ethic.
point. You bumped into him, and you could have been like, "What are you doing? Why are you bumping into me?"
Yeah.
You
totally,
didn't. You were like,
you've
"Oh my God,
practiced your-
sorry, sir. I'm so sorry about that." And then he was like, "Why? Look at him. He's got a creative mustache. He seems very, very cool."
I've only got this just because I did a commercial recently and they asked me to shave. I would have a big beard normally, and a big mustache. But
I'll say, yeah, you had a cracking mustache.
Yeah, I know. It'll be back.
And you didn't have to be nice to him. You could have had
You're
a bad
right,
day
you're
that day. And that's not luck. That's you being you. Like, and especially if, like you say, it could be someone who was famous or put you onto a good path, then, well, guess
Yeah,
what? You were in New York, you were in LA, you were in London, you were where you should have been. If you're walking around in the middle of, I don't know, Dordon still or Polesworth still, then guess what? You're not going to meet a superstar.
yeah,
Um, and that's same again. If you did bump into a superstar in Polesworth and you were nice to them, then that's not luck again. That's you being nice to them, put you on a
yeah,
path
yeah. Of
to where
course,
you were going.
absolutely.
I hate the word luck. I hate it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. Me too. I just think it's a little inconsiderate. I don't think people have considered, yeah, all walks of life and how people have got there. It's very easy for people to jump on the train of like, oh, it's privileged. You know, yeah, there's all kinds of things going on socially now. But yeah, you're totally right. It isn't luck. It's hard work, and work etiquette and a good ethic, and a healthy life. A healthy life.
So what do you prefer, performing
Yep.
or directing?
Really interesting question. I really enjoy both. I think it depends on the performance, depends on the show. Some shows I do, I'm like, wow, this is a really painful show. The audience are never going to know how much pain my ankles are in, or my back is in, or whatever it is. Like, because it tends to be something quite dangerous, or like the element of like fear of like, how, like, if I get this wrong, like I'm done. Like, I've been so many times, like my kneecaps are shaking because I'm about to do something that could end my life, or severely injure me anyway. Um,
So yeah, just while
so
you're there, we haven't touched on that. So Chad Luke is not just a performer; he was a circus performer, so acrobat, so triple back somersaults, twisting into somersaults, twisting out of somersaults, off teeter boards, so off like a seesaw. So think yourself in the park, and he's on
yeah,
one end, and someone jumps on the other end, fires him in the air. Then he has to propel himself to do some crazy, nice, show-stopping somersault back onto his feet, or off something, running and jumping off something, all in a
yeah,
performance, not just in the park or not just parkour, actually in front of crowds of people
totally.
every day.
Yeah, and a lot of the times I've been fortunate enough to be in the creation process of shows being created, and that's my favorite part, really, because then you really get to create the show. And if the show's a success, then you're a part of that and you created that. So it means you've exercised you've collaborated with everybody else around you, and you've made a really stellar performance. And that's happened on a few occasions where I've been really proud of the work that everybody's generating, created together. So I think when I'm directing, I'm always looking at movement and how our physical bodies are telling the story before we even start to think about words. And that's what I really like to practice as a practitioner. I think we wear many different things. We're students and sometimes we're teachers. And when I'm directing, I'm not teaching, I'm facilitating the greatness in the room, and I'm exercising the potential of all of those in front of me. Um, and it's very easy for me to see. If I was to say I had one superpower, it was, I really, really, really see the potential and the greatness within everybody. When somebody's really striving for something, I can only see their greatest, truest version of themselves. And I think that's a really beautiful skill to have, because it means that there's no judgment. And if there is a judgment, because judgment is really, we make things up in 0.03 of a second with someone, then we can automatically say, that is brilliant. You are trying to be a better version of yourself, and here's how we're going to exercise that in this show. I'm going to give you all of the tools that you need to show your tools to me. When I'm performing, I get the buzz of being on stage, and I get the adrenaline, and I get the fatigue and the tiredness, and and also the highs and the lows of what it is performing. There's days you wake up and you go, the last thing I want to be right now is it's in front of 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Last place I want to be right now. I'm feeling vulnerable. I feel weak. Everything hurts. My mind's against me today. And then you step up to the plate. So I think it's both teach me a lot of things, and I'm really interested in doing both a
I
lot
think
more.
I think with you doing both as well also gives you, it's a bit like me coaching and competing. You
Yeah,
understand now as a producer what they're going through. Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's not saying you're not going to put them through that, because maybe you waking up and feeling emotional and vulnerable actually gave you a better performance that day. because
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
why you perform. Like, it's the same as being an athlete. You ache because you want to ache. You ache
Yeah,
because
yeah, of course. There's
it's
a pleasure in pain.
yeah, yeah. And I feel it gives you that understanding of, so when you are producing,
Yeah.
do you think it gives you that edge? That
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gives me the upper hand on many aspects, actually, with photography, with video. I know what it feels like to be the artist on the other side. So I know what I don't get from other people, and I try and practice what I don't get. So it's really good, because then I can take the things that aren't necessarily working in some spaces, and then try and exercise those things into another space where I'm in the flipped position. So, like, I trained as a theatre maker in physical theatre, so it was bringing physical practices together to tell to have a narrative on stage, with our physical bodies, and that translates to so many things in film, in photography, in all walks of life. And I think especially in the new Joker movie.
oh, I loved
So
it. I loved
yeah,
it.
and I think the reason why I really enjoyed the new Joker movie, and I thought it was craftsmanship at its finest, one from Joaquin Phoenix, but two from the filmmakers and from Todd as well, the director. They there were scenes there, like when he's in the toilet and he's dancing and he's going through the motions. Those were written scenes that then he improvised in the toilet. Those were written scripts that then came out in physical practice, and the whole world went, whoa, I've got goosebumps. Joaquin, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
You are absolutely rinsing like the stage right now. It's amazing. So and that really was like the merging of the physical actor, filmmaking, and the abstract nature in which we choose to tell the narrative of the story. And I want to see more of that in film. And there is a merge between theatre and film that hasn't quite been crossed yet, but I can't wait to see that and also practice that and get it embellished in my work moving forwards.
You'd be a good Joker. I think you play a good Joker.
Oh, I'd like to play the Joker. I think I'd be pretty messed up afterwards, but I'd give it a darn
I think
good
that's
go.
what happens to all of them, don't it? When they get,
I think so. I
a
think
lot of
anybody
film,
takes their
yeah, a lot of actors who take their role seriously, it can really
yeah.
affect them. But that's what
Totally. It does affect you as well. You can play a role for 6 months and you're playing the angry arsehole. All of a sudden you're walking around life being a slightly angry arsehole. And it's like, well, why am I feeling this negative way? Oh, hang on. I've been playing a really angry
arsehole.
uh,
Yeah.
arsehole for 6 months. So I need to, then you, once I finish the contract, you go back to self-meditating and working back on your practice to get Luke back. And I think many times every actor loses themselves a little bit and has to rediscover the light in themselves.
Yeah, because they say we lost Heath Ledger to that, didn't they? To getting
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in depth into
absolutely.
his
Yeah.
characters and stuff, and he just wasn't the same after the Joker. But then also his
No,
characters
totally.
after
Yeah.
that, they were the same sort, not the same sort of character, but he had to get himself in a weird mindset, which then messed him up.
Yeah, totally. There's something really like there's a very weird, strange. There's a strange dichotomy between something that's beautifully ugly, and the Jokers are very, the new Joker for me is very something that's beautifully ugly.
Yeah, I
The
loved it.
way in which it was displayed.
I thought it
Yeah,
was more of a lot of people were like, well, I hated that movie, and I was like, well, it told a story, and it told what life is about these days.
oh, it was truthful. It was
Like, it was
totally
like,
truthful to so many of the lower class in society.
yeah, and just the way people feel and the way people are treated, especially like the way the medical system treated him, was a
Yeah.
bit. I'm not gonna say like a bit how America is, and I can imagine that's how it is.
Mm.
So I think people hated it because it was so real.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, it
America's
was
a
grim. It was
whirlwind
grim.
of emotions just walking down the street.
Oh
It's
yeah,
GPA and some.
yeah. So
It's
you wanted to
crazy.
touch on depression. If how long have I got you for?
Yeah. Great. That's a really good thing. I think people tend to shy away from it, and they're like, they're either embarrassed to say so, or they're just haven't accepted the fact that as humans we suffer with mental health issues. One thing we don't practice in our education system is well-being, a special mental well-being as
Yeah.
well. It's something we really have to learn. It's a journey on our own. So depression to me is depression of the character that you're playing. Your body is tired of being the person you are not. So if depression comes about, it's actually I feel like it's the world coming back in reflection to yourself and saying, hey, there is a better version of yourself out there. Work on it. Get to that better version of yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean to say financially. It might be financially, that I mean, it could be any part of any aspect of life. But depression to me means that as a person, you need to go inwards to come outwards, and you need to depress your character and to grow and to bloom. I'll tell you a little cheeky story about a lobster, right? A lobster sits under a rock, and it grows a shell. It grows a shell, and then it goes out into the world. It eats the world. It does its routines of life, and it gets to a point where it becomes uncomfortable. Let's say that uncomfortability we can call depression. So it has to go back to its rock that it originally came from, and then it has to take that hard shell that it had when it first entered the world. It has to take that hard shell, take it off, strip it back, and become really mushy, really vulnerable, and really fragile. And anything and anyone could really harm that at any moment. But it has to do that to grow a bigger, better shell, a bigger, better version of itself, to then re-enter the world and continue life moving forwards. And I think that's a beautiful analogy for any time that anyone's ever suffering with depression or anxiety or whatnot. It's okay to go back under your rock, and it's okay to take your shell off and reevaluate. And I think we should do it more often than we think. We don't practice it in our society, and we don't practice mental well-being. But to me, it's very important.
And to talk
mental
about
well-being. Let's talk about it.
So
Let's talk about it. Let's educate each other. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, and like, so I had this a week ago. So it's been getting to me that I can't do what I was doing. I can't live my life how I was living it. And not, it is due to COVID, but it's not like, oh, well, I can't go here, I can't go there. We had a process. I've now had to get the job. I've had to stop doing everything I was doing that I'd been working for the last 6-7 years. And I had a bit of a breakdown during COVID and didn't speak about it for a long time. And then once I'd spoke about it, I felt great. Okay, now how am I going to fix this? I got the job. I then had the same sort of breakdown not long ago, and I was snapping at people and I was snapping at my partner. And I literally I was like, I've got to say something. And I literally just said, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And I felt so much better. Like it didn't change the job. I'm still in the same job. It didn't change the situation. I'm still where I am.
Yeah.
But I just needed to tell somebody. So I just said to her, I'm not okay. And then I say, nothing's been done about it. It just changed my mood.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't hiding in myself. And like you say, I was in that mushy, vulnerable lobster state.
Yeah.
Where I'd taken the shell off, but I've gone mushy, I've gone vulnerable. And then now needed to say something and speak to someone. As soon as it was out there, I was like, okay, Sam, get over yourself. There's people who haven't got houses, who haven't got jobs, who haven't got money.
Yeah, gratitude.
Just because you're not doing what you've been doing for what you've worked for. Yes, you've lost everything. It could come back. It's not.
It will come back in a very different form.
Yeah. And I had to just say to myself, like, literally get over yourself. You haven't. I could be sat at home with no money, and I could not be buying a house in 6-7 months time. But I am still on that path. Yes. Yeah. I think the hardest part of it was all the people that I'd done this to. And people listening can't see, I'd stuck my finger up to and said, I'm going to be a cheer coach, educator, and that's going to be my life. And I'm probably going to work 30 hours a week and earn the same amount of money as a 40-hour job.
Right.
And it was like I'd got all those people saying, I told you so. I told you so. Because I'd had to then go back to the norm. I'd had to get a normal job. I'd had to go and be 9 to 5, 40-hour a week. And I was putting that pressure on myself. No one had said that.
Yeah.
But I was putting it on myself. I told you so. And I could feel all these people that I'd proven wrong saying, I told you so. I told you so. And once I'd spoken to someone, they kind of disappeared. And it was like, okay, now I'm doing it for a reason. This is why. I can't help it. My work's not even there. It's not like I'm just not doing the job I want to do. It's the work's not even there. So get over yourself. You've got money. You've got to have a roof over your head. You've got a nice partner. You've got a good family. Be grateful for that. And then hopefully the way I am will bring everything back again. But I think like depression, people need to talk about it.
Totally.
Otherwise you get more and more depressed.
And also you touched on a really important topic there as well, is gratitude. Like we need to look at the day and be grateful for the things that we've done in that day. You know, if anybody who's struggling, you can literally be like, well, I'm going to write down 10 things I'm grateful for today. You know, it's very simple. It can be very small. You know, I'm grateful to have breakfast. I'm grateful to have the things that I have around me. I'm grateful to have a family. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for this scenario that happened today. It can be as big or as small as you want, but do that on the daily basis, and gratitude will attract and manifest other things into your life, because you'll attract more opportunity.
And you attract people like you. Like having this conversation today will put me on a good path. If I hadn't had this conversation and just sat watching TV because I got to go to a night shift today,
Yeah, likewise, Sam.
it puts you in that, okay, that was a great conversation, and puts you on a good start to the day. Obviously I've only just got up, so it is my start of my day, but
Yeah,
a
mate,
good,
you're on nights, mate.
a good-
You're doing really well to be up
good,
at this point. Anyway.
but the problem is though, because I'm talking to the people I want to talk to, it's not money. I don't make money out of this. So because I'm talking to people I ask to come and talk to me, or if they come and ask me, yeah, I'll talk to you. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. So this is a reason to get up when I should still be in bed, etc.
Yeah, totally.
And like you say, it's that put it in the terms you put it in, like creating that good energy, creating that good future to get yourself out of that dark place, and to readjust, to talk about it and readjust, and then
reassess, reevaluate, and then move forwards.
Be grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm getting to talk to you because of the internet. I'm grateful that my mic's finally working this time, and hopefully it's recorded really good audio, because this has been
I hope so. I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's been an amazing chat. Yeah, man, let's wrap that up there. That's an hour and 10 minutes.
Man, that was good. That was a really
thanks.
chat.
Thanks
I could
for coming
chat
on
for like 3-4 hours. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me on, Sam.
Thanks for coming on. Take home points from this for viewers and listeners is be more lobster. Be more lobster. Let's be more lobster.
Yeah.
Just be more lobster.
Be more lobster.
Be more lobster.
Look after yourselves and look after those around you.
Yeah, definitely. And be grateful. Be grateful for what you've got, and opportunities like this. Opportunities like this. What is your movie called?
The Pilgrimage to Enlightenment: The Journey of Becoming an Advocate. The trailer's out on YouTube. It's also on Facebook. You can get it on Instagram. The release date was supposed to be this June, but because of the whole COVID situation, I'm going to postpone it until I think the world is ready for it. So keep peeled, keep tuned. It's definitely going to be one to watch. And I'll definitely keep watching these podcasts, and we'll talk more down the line, Sam. Thanks so much.
Brother. Yeah. Where will it be released? Where can people?
It's going to be released in Hollywood Boulevard, I believe, at the Egyptian Theatre first, and then it's going to go on the festival circuit, and we'll see where else it's going to go.
So no one can find it online. It won't be online. It won't.
Yeah, not just yet. It's because it needs to be. It's going to go to distribution after it's been to the film festivals. But it's going to. We've got a Spain tour. We've got an Italian tour. Then we've got an American tour, and then I'll see if I can get a UK tour. But that would be brilliant if we could. And then I'll know where the platform's going to be shown. Which platform it's going to be shown on and whatnot.
So it could be like back end of next year.
Yeah, it'll be June next year. But if it's not out by June next year, I'll probably have a black eye, and I'll be on your podcast, and I'll probably would have punched myself in the face. So let's hope that it's out by June next year. It's definitely done and ready to go. I'm just hoping that we can get a better release date and a better grasp on the situation that's unfolding.
Yeah, dude, very, very inspirational podcast, and I'd love to get you back on to actually talk about you and who you are, and like all the stuff we've touched on. How did you get there? But I was not stopping you in that flow of inspiration and the way you were talking, and I was not getting in the way of that. So,
no,
thank you. Thank you.
Oh, mate, you're fantastic. Thank you so much for letting me walk for an hour and 10.
Great. Mate, no, thanks for coming on, dude. It's very, very inspirational, very free flowing, very easy to talk to. Obviously, I should hope you are like that, being a movie star and all that.
I'm not a movie star. No, not at all, mate. I'm just a regular bloke in the back of a warehouse in London.
Sounds like Peaky Blinders or something.
Peaky Blinders, mate.
Just a regular bloke in the back of a warehouse.
Out there, we've got a virus. Okay, wear your masks. Stay alert. Stay alive.
Bro, that's going to be the clip for the podcast now. It's gonna be the first thing that comes on. Thanks again, dude. And I will be down to London 100%. We'll do a
Wicked, bro.
face-to-face one. And then when you're back in, are you coming down for? Are you coming over for Christmas or anything?
I come down quite often actually. So I'll drop you a message once I'm back, bro.
Yeah, the studio should be done, and we'll do a late night one or something. We'll have a beer, or if you don't even drink
Yes.
anymore, you know, because you're from London.
Really looking forward to it, mate.
Cool. Awesome. I'll leave you to your day and your fun
Yes.
factory. Thank you for wasting or spending 2
It
hours.
was no waste. It was actually it was really, really inspiring. Thanks a lot, Sam.
An hour is 10 with me, and I'll speak and see to you soon, man.
I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Okay, dude.
Bye bye, mate.
Much love.
Much love.